It's interesting because I sort of thought that you would be more of a Hitchinite, God is not great advocate. But it's interesting to me that you see the value and the force for good of
Well,
the
I
United
mean,
Kingdom having a Christian foundation.
yes, but I must emphasize that I think that the things that Christians believe are actually nonsense. I mean, I think that when you say you waver, I wanted to ask you, do you actually believe that Jesus had a virgin for a mother? Do you actually believe he rose from the dead? I
Well,
suspect you probably
weirdly,
don't.
since you ask, Richard, if I may, because I was at New College when
Of course.
I think,
Yeah.
are you still a don at New College? Yes,
Well, I'm retired,
you're
but
retired, but
yes, I
you
mean,
don't look anyway. Weirdly, I was just 3 weeks ago at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, where the Christians believe that Christ was crucified, or there was the tomb, and the Gethsemane was just there, and Golgotha was there. And I have to admit that there is a real force. I mean, it feels like the fulcrum of three world religions. It really does. And Christianity is palpable there. The place pulses with Christianity. I don't know whether it made me believe the Bible anymore, but I certainly felt that Jesus was a historical figure. Yes, I did believe
well,
that. Am I
well,
wrong to
yes,
think
I mean,
that?
no, I mean that's quite different. But do you believe that his mother was a virgin?
Well, I mean, maybe that was a
You don't, do
mistranslation
you?
of. Well, that's biologically impossible, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yes.
So
Pause. Can
that's
we get a
always,
pause?
yeah, it's paused.
Well,
He's going to talk about the resurrection too in a second, so I figured we could pause here.
yeah, but I hate this worldview in that the whole idea that like, well, if you believe anything that we can't totally explain with science, and you're stupid, you know. Well, yeah, but you believe anyone who has their worldview, a materialist worldview, believes that all the matter in the universe sprung from nothing into being in a moment, in an explosion that then created a perfectly fine-tuned universe. And we can go on, yeah, okay, yeah. So I've even heard, one of the guys on their team, be honest and say, well, just give us one miracle and then we'll explain the rest. Well, why is that more logical than a virgin birth, or just believing that there is an all-powerful God that can interrupt periodically when he wants to? So like, I don't understand the a priori just be like, oh, you're so stupid if you believe in a virgin birth. Why? I believe there's a God. I believe there's an entity that does interact sometimes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like a tactic. It's like the attack these like beliefs that seem ridiculous because we kind of take them for granted. We celebrate that stuff at Christmas, and it's like the virgin birth, and we don't. It's just kind of baked into our culture. Like you don't even realize. You're like, oh wait, I guess I do believe something that's miraculous.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but
the
we
virgin
think God
birth
interrupted.
and Easter, yeah. Yeah, that's the point. So I think that if the way that I process this, when you're faced with someone that like really presses you on something, is that no, I believe God can do that. Like you're talking to someone who believes in that there's a God and that we believe in spiritual things. We believe that there's a spiritual realm where stuff happens. There's powers and principalities and all these things. Like most Christians, I would say, believe in that. Like, why would we not believe that God can do stuff? We believe in miracles. We believe miracles happen. So it's not so much like, yeah, I don't know anyone that's ever given birth as a virgin, but it doesn't mean that I don't believe it can't happen. Yeah.
I'm not even happy with the term supernatural because I think God in the spirit realm is a part of our natural order. It's just that we don't always perceive its activity. There are times when crazy things happen and you're like, whoa, that was miraculous. That was God speaking. That was, that I can't explain that. And I think the vast majority of humans, if they're honest, have had those moments where they know that something happened they can't explain, you know, that you know, something was peeking through, you know. I certainly have in my life. So, yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I believe that Jesus was born of a virgin and died on a cross and came back to life. I'll take the whole boatload of stuff. I'll take, you know, Moses parting the Red Sea, and, you know, just yeah, throw it all in there. You know, why do we have to make accommodation to like make it make sense when?
Because of, I mean, that's just our world, you know, that aggressive skepticism. I don't think there's anything wrong with the skepticism, and like, you know, but we feel the need to accommodate, because there was I heard someone say recently that our world has changed. The philosophical perspective on things has changed. And it used to be, it's true because it's in the Bible. And now it's in the Bible because it's true. And it's a subtle shift, but it's true. It's in the Bible, and that makes it true. That used to be the way it was. Yeah. And now there are things that are true, and the Bible just tells you about them because they are true. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is a little bit of where we are with this, you know, even the stuff that we make. It's like, no, look at this true thing. See how the Bible represents it? You know, it's like we find ourselves constantly trying to do that. We don't just accept the text and just, you know, we feel a need to justify it. Like, hey, look, here's Nebuchadnezzar outside the Bible. He really existed, or, you know, whatever. And we do believe it's historically some of that's
credible.
A healthy process, though, you know.
Sure.
I mean, I think I find that this conversation, like that we were doing in a previous video, we're talking about it, but there's things that you can never really, you're not going to prove your way into Christian faith. There are things that we're supposed to read the text to get spiritual meaning and application, and yes, there's history in there, and that's important to know and to get the context of, but they are theological spiritual texts, you know. Yes, there is history, and yes, there is all these other types of literature throughout the whole biblical corpus that we should take into consideration, but like primarily these things are supposed to provide some type of meaning there and application and understanding. We don't need to scrutinize them to that level. I mean, I think it's fun to do that. I think it's fun to go dig in there and see like, oh my gosh, look how cool this is, because I want to understand that world better. But that's the real purpose there.
What I do think is good, you know, kind of to his point at a certain level, is that Christianity does tolerate and accept a far, far greater level of criticism and frankly ridicule than like Islam accepts. And because of that, we've been through a very rigorous, very difficult, about 150-year process now of just being assaulted by, you know, textual critics and historical critics and scientific critics that have just wailed away at Christianity. And I think what we're seeing now is that tide is receding. Because, you know, these textual critics have criticized the Bible, and we keep digging up rocks that prove them wrong, you know, that have inscriptions and say, you know, whatever the science keeps, I think the science is completely in our favor now, you know, contrary to what this guy's going to say. I mean, I feel like the Big Bang and the fine tuning and what we're finding out about genetics, I think it's so far in our favor now. So I feel like that tide is receding, and we've survived all of that, whereas Islam has never been subject to it. And, you know, I think they're in for a very rude awakening, you know, as they get subjected now in the West to what the Bible, you know, has been subjected to. And we survived it. You know, again, I think we're on the other side of it, and we're stronger for it. Another thing is, we were
promised that too. I will say, just to piggyback on what you're saying, is we were promised that we would be ridiculed for belief. That's what Jesus said, and that's what Paul said, and that's what Paul says too. You know, he's just like, it's foolishness
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, click like and subscribe. It really helps us. And if you really enjoyed it, go on over to our website, thelandofthebible.com, and become a supporter. It helps us generate more content and gives you access to our full library of video and Bible study content.